You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I've not done this in a while.
Yeah.
I'm out of practice.
G'day everyone, it's Graham and Jess from Great Off-Road Adventures and welcome back to another video. Now I'm sure in the last video you've just seen us do a full walk around of the BIGFOOT YowieV2 17-foot hybrid. Now, as I promised at the end of that, we're going to explain to you why it is that we've got the hybrid, how it is that we've got the hybrid, and why we're going from the BIGFOOT Yeti, which is our beloved Ford Fold camper.
That we still love.
And we do still love it.
Still love it.
Up into the hybrid. So yeah, we're going to cover off a few things in this video too. We're also going to time setting up and packing up the hybrid, just for our own records and bits and pieces to compare it to the Ford Fold camper and all of that. And we'll go through the pros and cons and whatnot. We've used it for a couple nights now. We're slowly getting to grips with it, but we're certainly, I don't proclaim to be anywhere near as proficient with the Yowie compared to the Yeti.
So this will be our second setup together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There might still be some questions like, how do we do this? How do we do that? Whatever. So, but we'll work through it and we'll run that live and we'll show you the time it takes and all of that. Anyway, I reckon we get into setting it up and we can come back down, sit down again and go through some Q&As and talk about why we're upgrading.
Sounds good.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, use the timer.
G'day and welcome to Great Off-Road Adventures. This is where we host our remote travel, exploration, forward driving, camping and build content. If you want to see more, hang in there. Our next episode of Great Off-Road Adventures is just a few seconds away. Okay, so we're going to get into setting it up. We're staying hitched up. We're staying with my parents for tonight, just in the driveway. But for the purposes of our testing and whatnot, I'll go around and I'll put all four stabilizer legs down. Not worrying about leveling ramps because we are level. And obviously I'm not going to unhitch it, but basically another minute or two to unhitch at the worst. So you'll see us divide and conquer, and we're doing the whole setup. Roof up, awning out, kitchen, barbecue, fridge, the lot.
Right, what do you want me to do?
Let's start a timer, all right, and then we'll work out the tasks.
Yeah, this is where we're still new. We haven't decided on the division of work yet.
Yeah. All right, just so everyone can see, 0, 0, start. I'll go and do the 4 latches, you open the kitchen.
Got it.
And the phone's going to go on the kitchen, everyone can see I don't manipulate with it.
Zoom in on that shit.
On what?
I've already put the phone up so you can see it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the magic of video editing. I'm not going to make you watch the full setup. I'm going to fast forward this middle section. However, going to run a bit of a competition. If somebody wants to have a guess at exactly how long this takes to set up, it's somewhere between 12 minutes and 14 minutes. If you get the minutes and seconds correct, I'll get you a stubby cooler for your efforts. All right, Great Off-Road Adventures stubby cooler. So comment this in the comments below what your guess is. Somewhere between 12 minutes and 14 minutes. Anyway, let's continue setting it up. As you can see here, we're now throwing the awning out. Jess has just had a blowout of her trusty Archie thongs, so I'm going to need to get a new set of them before we go on the trip. But as you can see, the longest part of setting up is doing the awning and the anti-flap bars or anti-flap kit on the edges of the awning. With a little bit more practice, we will get this done a little bit faster. It was quite a good way that we did it by having Jess construct the 2 parts of each anti-flat bar on the ground beforehand. But we do need the step ladder to reach up to actually put on the anti-flat bracket itself.
You done in there?
Yeah, I was just going to check if I needed to.
No. Yep.
It's all done. All the beds are made.
Cool. Right. Still running. Stop there.
And we know we were slow because I was still learning how to do the roof.
Yeah. You know, like we're not.
And I had a blowout.
We weren't perfect, right? Exactly. So there you go. That's the hybrid setup for if we were staying 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights. You know.
Caravan park. Oh, maybe shade cloth.
Maybe we would throw out a set of shade cloth, but you know, everyone knows it takes you a minute or two to throw out shade cloth. Anyway, there you go. We'll pull the chairs in, we'll grab a cold drink, and explain to you why and how we've ended up getting this Yowie hybrid.
And then close the door again, of course.
Yeah, we got the aircon running inside, so the little one's gonna have a nap soon. So we'll just keep that in with the shut the door. Right, well, that's the power of video editing. Fast forwarded today, and now it is time for us to pack up the BIGFOOT Yowie. And again, this time I'm on my own. I don't have Jess's help, but I'm going to start a timer, run a timer, pack it up, and come and see exactly how long that has taken me to do. So here we go. Start timer. Let's get into it.
Well, if you want your chance to win a Great Off-Road Adventures stubby cooler, comment in the comment section below exactly how long you think it takes me to pack up the Yowie on my own. If you get the minutes and seconds correct, I'll get a stubby cooler sent out to you. A little helpful hint to help you out, somewhere between 15 and 18 minutes to get you started. Anyway, let's get back to it. Well, some of my thoughts on packing up the Yowie. The inside is significantly quicker than the camper. Being able to leave the beds completely set up is a massive advantage and time saver. And the fact that you don't have, you know, the lost time in setting up the ensuite or packing up the ensuite as well. So inside, super simple. Basically take the stuff off the top bunk, which is Sophie's bed, and they can literally just go on the couch underneath it and you're good to lower the roof. Super simple. It is very much a nice, simple one-person job. So if Jess is busy looking after the kids, then it's actually quite easy for me to do. It's not something that requires a second set of hands. You know, there's times packing up the camper trailer when you're folding the lid over or you know, closing the lid where you're trying to keep canvas out from either side and that sort of thing where it's handy to have a second set of hands. There's no tasks, there's no part of setting up or packing up the Yowie where you need a second set of hands. It's solely achievable as a single person, which does make it very nice.
Always deadlock the door and key lock the door. That way it doesn't inadvertently come open on you. Find the right key. All the way left, locked. Well, there you go, just stop the timer. 17 minutes 15. All right, so yes, I guess technically I've got to lift the jockey wheel and connect up half the stone stumper, close the car and we can go, but 13 minutes to set up, 17 minutes to pack up is pretty good going. Anyway, the beauty of video editing, let's snap back to yesterday and go on with the Q&A. All right, so I'm sure the $1 million question everyone is asking is, how did we end up with?
How or why?
Okay, let's start with why first, and then that leads into the how. So why did we end up with a 17-foot hybrid compared to our Ford Fold camper? Do you want to lead off?
Yeah, so some of you may have watched our earlier video where we did bit of travelling in preparation for our lap. We took the Yeti to Bremer Bay and down Walpole Way, and it was for us the test trip to test we could fit all 4 of us in the trailer together, and you know how we'd go moving regularly, all of that. And it was about halfway through that Graham looked at me and goes, kind of sucks setting up on my own regularly. And I was like, I have 2 babies, don't look at me.
Yeah.
And that sort of started the conversation. A lot of people had already said we were crazy and stupid going in a forward fold. They're like, guys, you have children, take a Caravan. And we're like, we aren't Caravan people.
Basically.
Great.
Yep.
You know, you guys have seen some of the tracks Graham puts our Yeti down. We were like, no. Way too not okay. We want to be able to still travel where we go now. We can rough it.
Yeah, and what the 3-week test run showed us, which you only saw 3 episodes of that from Pemberton, Walpole and Bremer Bay. We had a week before that up at Lucky Bay, just to relax as a family. And, you know, that 3 weeks was a lot of fun, but we also had the mindset of, well, it's only 3 weeks. So
Can we do this for 6 months?
2 weeks in, you know, when I said to Jess, it's taking me an hour to set up the camper on my own and 2 hours to pack it up on my own, you know, it's a lot of lost time. And I just don't know how I'm going to feel about that when we're 3 weeks in or 2 weeks into a 6-month trip, and the light at the end of the tunnel is not a week's time, but 5 months' time, you know. So that's where I started to have that little seed, you know, sown in my brain of, can we make our setup dramatically quicker? And the simple answer was no. We already have a very quick to set up forward fold camper, especially with the Dutch awning and ensuite, and I plumbed up a hot water system and everything after that trip to try and make it quicker. And so, yeah, ultimately it was, well, what else is out there that is quicker, and why is it quicker?
And obviously hybrids are very popular at the moment.
Exactly.
You'd be living under a rock if you've not heard of a hybrid. For us, it was the whole, how much quicker is a hybrid compared with how limiting is towing a hybrid. That was the real, we've never experienced it, we just didn't know.
You've heard it from us before that there's always little compromises. You know, we've gone from having a rooftop tent to a swag, to another rooftop tent, to a camper trailer, now to a hybrid, and every single one of those changes has come with a degree of compromise. To make it better in one area, we've had to give up something somewhere else. And that is no different this time around. I've wanted a quicker setup and a quicker pack up, but the compromise with that is we're going to lose some off-road ability when we're towing the hybrid compared to the camper. And that's down to weight and size. That being said, the limited bit of off-roading I've already done with the Yowie on identical tracks that I've taken my forward fold on, I immediately felt pretty confident and pretty comfortable with it. I think when I get into softer sand, I'm going to learn the differences with weight and tandem axles and all of that. So I'm going to venture into all of that. But part of our consideration was that we've gone from travelling in groups of 5 cars, 6 cars, 8 cars with a bunch of friends now to doing a lot of travelling solo. And when you travel solo, you naturally become a little bit more conservative with what track choices you make, what obstacles you drive over. And so naturally towing the camper, I was already pretty conservative. And everywhere that we took the camper on that 3-week test run, and every track we took it through, we actually thought about it, went back and went, you could tow a hybrid through all of that. No problems whatsoever. And that was just subconscious choices I made because I didn't want to drive the hardest line there to tick the box to say I've done it. Not when I've got my family on board and towing a trailer. I want to get to my end destination. The track is part of the journey, but the track's not the purpose of the trip.
Yeah, and like, you know, we, as you said, we were already sort of making those choices. So like our big trip we're doing, a simple example is like, you know, big high country. We were never planning to take our trailer on some of those harder tracks.
No.
We were going to drive them, absolutely.
Car only, of course.
But we were going to base camp so we could then drop the trailer and do car only. So then we were like, well, hang on, if we're base camping.
So naturally we've been very, like I was saying before, very conservative in our planning. So changing from the camper to the hybrid at short notice when we leave in 4 weeks,
Yep.
it hasn't impacted our plan dramatically. We've adjusted accordingly and maybe moved one base camp location from one camp to a separate one that's a lot easier to access. But, you know, it hasn't impacted our ability to still go and do the same day trips that we wanted to do. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be fantastic.
And so that we came home from that trip going, yep, we think we need to explore hybrids.
Yes.
But we had no experience with them. So we actually want to be informed before we go the next step.
Yep.
So Graham and I spent a day while our daughter was in daycare going hybrid shopping.
We went to all the showrooms in Perth that we could. So I think we went and looked at 7 different trailers.
Yeah.
To basically see what is out there.
Yeah, and we were looking for anything that was 4 berth, 15 to 17 foot. Obviously, the smaller the better it would be.
Yep.
But it had to be 4 berth. We have 2 daughters.
Correct.
We needed to make that logistically work.
But it also needed to have sufficient storage space that we could take all of our equipment from our camper, which we know is what we need as a bare minimum, right, to camp comfortably. So, you know, the Weber, the fridge, the kitchen, the basic kitchen equipment that we have.
Shade cloth.
Hot water system, toilet, ensuite tent. So if it didn't have an internal ensuite and
we needed storage
for it and that sort of thing. Exactly. And so we basically, that day, every single showroom that we went to, we started at the front drawbar of the trailer, went a full lap around the outside, inside, lifted everything, lifted mattresses, looking for all hidden storage compartments, every storage drawer, went through the lot.
Yeah, because I don't know about you guys, but researching online, I found the photos of storage were terrible.
Very deceptive.
You could not tell. They were two beautiful pictures inside looking down the walkway, and you'd be like, is that a cupboard? Is there anything in that cupboard? Quite often, some of them, you'd open the cupboard door and it would be full.
Well, you'd open the cupboard and you'd think, oh, it'll be a deep cupboard because it's under a bench, but it's only this shallow because then there's a wheel arch there, or there's, you know, electrical wiring.
So
or
we did only therefore look at stuff available in Perth at the time we were looking, because we wanted to see in person what actually was available, because storage for 6 months is obviously absolutely paramount.
We go through multiple changes of clothes a day, nappies, all of that. We need multiple changes of linen. So, you know, you can imagine that we're carrying more than what a normal family would because the circumstances we're in. So, looping back around to how we ended up with another BIGFOOT. Owning a BIGFOOT Yeti, the Ford Fold camper, we have had a very good long-term relationship with Matt, the owner of BIGFOOT, from before we even bought our Yeti. And those that have followed us for a long time know that we bought our Yeti second-hand. We didn't buy it through BIGFOOT, so we got no affiliation, no discount, no special treatment. We're just another customer that's bought the product because we researched it and we liked it. And like we say, to this day, we still love the Ford Fold camper, and we still are holding on to it for when we come back from this trip, to either keep it and rent it out on Camplify or to go back into it. I've been fortunate as a result over time and whatnot that, you know, Matt, what was a business relationship in that we bought a camper trailer from him and needed some spare parts and bits and pieces, has turned into a friendship now. And, you know, as a result of that, over the Christmas period, we were actually meant to get this exact camper for a week over Christmas for a test run. For us to see what a hybrid would be like in preparation for our lap, and if it's something that we thought would be, you know, so much infinitely better that we would need to get one for our lap, or it still had too many cons and that we'd go with the four-fold camper. And so Matt offered us a hybrid to use over Christmas. Unfortunately, outside of our control and Matt's control, he's also got customers that need to have their vans delivered and bits and pieces.
And rightly so, he prioritised his
absolutely.
customers over us, and we fully respect that and agree with that.
100%. And I said that to him a couple of days out. I said, concentrate on getting your customers' vans ready first. If we need to rain check a test run for us, that's not a biggie at all. That conversation then led into... what are you thinking about doing for your trip? Because we'd spoken to Matt about our lap.
And at this point, we'd done our day of looking at vans.
Yep.
And Graham and I had both independently gone. We looked at a variety of vans, variety of price ranges. And for the price, the BIGFOOT was our preferred van.
We basically looked at exterior storage, interior storage, layout, water capacity, overall dimensions and size and weight and payload.
So when you sort of factored all those little individual bits in, this definitely had the most external storage. That was non-negotiable.
It was on par or equal best exterior storage.
Yes.
And interior storage.
Yes.
Without no question.
The next van we liked after this one was the Cub H16.
Yep.
Another very, very smartly laid out van.
And a similar layout in a way.
Exactly.
Other than the bed runs east-west instead of north-south.
Because we needed the 4-berth option, not the 2-berth.
Yeah.
And we personally just like kitchens like this. This is a personal preference.
As you can see, we're sitting under the awning and the kitchen set up behind us. We haven't lost that space, unlike, our camper trailer where the kitchen slides all the way out.
So we this was our favourite one, but the Cub was the second favourite. But
so at the end of our day of walking around and looking at them all, we were pretty confident that if we were to buy a trailer that we looked at that day, it would be either this or a Cub. And with our experience with the company, with our camper and everything, we know that they're very robust, that they are well built. The customer service is second to none. The issues, the small issues, self-inflicted, I might add too, that I've had with my Yeti, Matt's bent over backwards to help us out. It's been fantastic.
We've never been able to claim warranty, having never bought something from Matt, but we've been able to buy parts and spares.
Correct. When I've damaged stuff, he's only been a phone call away. He's had the parts in the shop, or he's been able to source the parts for me and get me back on the road within a week.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I can't beat that for customer service.
No, and when he creates new ideas, he can generally retrofit them to the old one.
Yeah, it was so with the Yeti. So we kept talking to Matt, and obviously we had this day of looking at all the vans, and then we ended up talking to Matt again some more that day. And basically Matt has turned around to us and very, very generously, I have to put this out there, basically said to us, take this 17-foot trailer, it's ready to go. Take it for your lap for 7 months. And when you come back, if you love it, you can buy it from me then. If you don't love it, then I'll sell it as a second-hand ex-demo, and, you can go back to your forward-fold camper. And, at the end of the day, like we said, we went and looked at all the vans that we could that day that fitted the type and the size that we thought would suit us, that met our criteria, and we settled on being one of two, and then to be offered basically a 7-month test drive, a 6-month test drive.
Because we do love a try before you buy situation.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and like I said, an absolutely incredible offer, and an offer that a small YouTube channel with 15,000 subscribers really doesn't deserve, and I say that because channels with much bigger, greater subscriber numbers get these sort of offers, not us.
No.
And not us that have had a hiatus for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the beauty of maintaining really good working relationships and fostering really good working relationships with those people that are out there in the industry. And that's come back to give a bit back to us in now that we have a hybrid that we can take for our trip, really test it, and if we love it, then we get the opportunity to buy it at the end. So,
and for any of those wondering, there were no strings attached besides obviously if we're returning it, don't damage it, which is obvious.
try and return it in the best condition possible. So on that note, I've got a stone stomper coming, paying for that out of my own pocket. I've got the van booked in with Perth Detailing Centre to get bush wraps, which again, we're paying for out of our own pocket. Because the way I see it is, if we don't love the van at the end and we don't keep it, then we return it back to Matt in the best possible condition that we can.
Because it will become someone's van.
Because it's going to become someone else's van.
It will have Great Off-Road on it though. So.
Yeah, they can keep the stickers or they can take them off. I won't be offended. Or it's going to become our van, in which case we've done the right thing and protected it from day one, in which case, fantastic. It's like buying a new car and protecting your car from day one.
Yeah.
So
there was don't damage it.
Correct.
If possible, so don't be stupid with it.
And obviously, the van's going to feature in our 6-month trip.
But there's been no conversation on how we review the van, if we review the van. No. Literally just show this van going across Australia.
Exactly.
So, for all of those wondering, yeah, we've not been required to be at all. If we don't like it, we're allowed to say we don't like it. But, you know, just...
Yeah. So...
Because sometimes those deals can seem a bit dodgy.
Yeah, exactly. And this, when Matt made the offer to us, we probably spent the next half an hour basically discussing all this, going, well, how are we going to disclose this to YouTube? You know, we need to be completely transparent and make sure people know that it's been loaned to us for this trip with the option to buy it at the end or give it back. And, you know, basically what Matt stands to benefit out of it is exposure. His van's on the road on the East Coast, which, you know, is a market that he's not necessarily able to reach into easily, being a WA-based company. And obviously, you know, it's a story that we're sharing ourselves on YouTube of our trip. And the van's going to feature in that as a result. And so it's exposure for him. But obviously, I'm also handy with a camera and I have access to, you know, my 360 camera and all those bits and pieces too. So I can do other things to help Matt out with his marketing and his advertising. So I've done a 360 tour of the van. I did a walk around video, to show you guys what the van looks like, because I'm excited to share it, show you guys how awesome it is. But, you know, at the same time, then it gives him exposure. It gives him a product that when a customer reaches out and goes, you know, hey, I live down south, I can't get up to the showroom for a few weeks, but I want some more information, it gives Matt a product, a video that he can send out and that sort of thing. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship, but there's been no money changed hands. We've not been paid, and in return, we're not paying for the van till we get back from the end of our trip if we love it. So that is the why and the how of how we've ended up with the hybrid you see behind us. I put a post up the other day too, in regards to announcing that we now had a hybrid. Obviously, it didn't disclose in that post as to how we've got it, but you know, it's no secrets. We just told you. But I put out there Q&A. Fire away with a couple of questions. Jess and I'll go through and answer them. I'm sure we've probably answered a few now already into how and why we've ended up with the camper, but there's a couple questions here that were sent in that I will load up. First question was from Hayden, and he said, not related to the hybrid, but more so for your lap with the kids. Wife and I have a 6-month-old. Congratulations to the two of you. And we're planning a quarter lap next year. Any tips on camping gear that you'd recommend for making life easier with little ones?
You're going to defer to me because I'm the mum.
No, because we discussed this when Hayden messaged it in, and we said there was a few things that we felt that we needed to talk about.
So firstly, we're assuming Bub will be 12 months therefore or older when you're going.
Yeah,
we've made that assumption.
Sort of guessed
6 weeks now. Next year, we've assumed 12 months.
Yeah.
12 months is so much easier than 6 weeks, guys. You got this.
Correct.
So we made that assumption startly. And then we went, well, it depends on the kid.
It does, exactly. But the tips and stuff that we sort of thought about that we found with travelling with Sophie from when she was, 4 weeks old was the first time we came down here and went
6
camping.
weeks old.
6 weeks old.
6 weeks old she was here.
She was down here. What we found was don't try and do more than 500 kilometres a day of driving. Like if you got to pack up camp and then drive 5 hours or 500 kilometres, that's our rule. And then you need to be setting up camping.
Because the kids need
that gives you
every day a period to just be a kid, explore, play, do stupid things.
That gives you a good time to have a lunch break and any unforeseen morning tea, afternoon breaks as required. And, you know, we found that has worked quite well when we did our 3-week test run with both the girls. 500 Ks was basically the point where it was no longer fun being in the car and time to end it off. So that was one tip we had. The other one we had is we have an iPad for Sophie. We minimise the screen time on it, but it's like a break glass for emergency use only sort of tool where, you know, all hands are on deck because it's blowing a gale and you've got to set the awning up, but you just need your little one to be entertained for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is. You know, one of the two of you is feeling under the weather because you've got a stomach bug or who knows, the other one's trying to cook dinner, and you just need 20 minutes or half an hour of entertainment. You know, it's that when
if they sit still,
when no other option works, break glass, emergency use only, bring out the iPad.
Just make sure you have stuff downloaded offline or something.
Offline downloads.
Sophie's actually got a game that she does matching things and
Yeah,
colour
so
coordinating and stuff, which she loves.
you don't necessarily just need to watch stuff on the iPad. You can use it as an educational, functional tool as well. So
and the only other thing which we didn't discuss, which I've thought of,
go on.
is kids are going to change so much in those first 12 months because I'm also assuming you're first-time parents. But start building in the habits now as your bub grows for what you want to see in your lap. So like with Sophie, I'm real big on her. She helps me do things. She has to help me clean. We help pack away together. She's known since the day she could walk, she needs to hold my hand when she sees cars. We've instilled that from day one so that when we are out travelling, I'm not having to teach her things to be bush safe.
Yeah.
So, you know, teaching them not to grab certain things in case they see an animal that they shouldn't be grabbing.
Or insects and that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Teaching them they're allowed to explore, but teaching markers and say, okay, you can't go past this rock or this tree. Depends if your kid's walking, obviously, by 12 months, all of that. But you just sort of build in those behaviours, and every kid is different. Some kids are runners. You might be investing in a leash then. You know, but if you're trying to ask for those behaviours before you go, you know if it's going to work or not. Instead of getting on your holiday and going, oh crap, my kid's a runner and loves water. I can't go near water because my kid's going to end up in the water.
Yep.
So it's sort of that just, and again, every kid is different. They change every friggin' day. What works today will not work tomorrow.
Yep.
But try to encourage those behaviours that will make it less stressful for you when camping. And embrace the dirt. Because I don't know how often our child is not her colour because she's covered in God knows what.
If you've got a 20 litre jerry can of water, you can put 5 litres into a bucket, and so that gives you 4 bucket washes.
Stick the kid in the bucket.
And, you know,
But don't bother during the day. Wait till the end of the day. Let them be dirty.
Correct. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to add other than enjoy your trip.
Yes.
You're going to have some days that are harder than others. Don't be off-put by it.
No, lean on each other.
Yep.
You guys are there for each other. The kid won't remember the trip.
But you guys will. You know, so if it's something you really want to do, get out there and do it.
Let dad have kid-free time. Let mum have kid-free time.
Yep. And we'll look for you on Instagram or something, and we'll follow you back, and so we can see how your trip goes.
Yeah, enjoy.
Yep.
Something I'm going to touch on quick is some of the equipment that we used when Sophie was little. Kmart, we used one of the large fold-up pet enclosures. It's got a solid base, keeps the creepy crawlies out, keeps the baby in. We used the infant booster chair. We were able to use that portably, like we went to friends' houses, but we also used it camping all the way up until she was just over 18 months. And then we moved her up into a slightly larger Kmart kids folding camp chair.
Okay, so Andrew said, would you recommend for someone like myself who's planning on starting a family to look into a camper, or do you think camping out of my car with a rooftop tent is sufficient?
Oh, no, you cannot do... I mean, you can do rooftop camping with a kid, but don't do rooftop tent camping with a kid.
Like I said, we've gone from rooftop tents to swags, back to rooftop tents.
I mean, just think functional logistics. Small kids have naps during the day.
Yeah.
Adults do not. Which means at least once during the day, if not more, you're going to have to carry a kid who can sometimes be 20 kilos sometimes.
Well, when they're a lot older.
Our kid's not... Oh, she's probably about 14 actually. Okay.
Yeah.
14 kilos up a ladder, which is a narrow ladder because they don't do wide ladders, up a ladder to get in a rooftop tent to threaten their life that they must stay in that rooftop tent because if they open the zip, because they know how to open zips, will come out and for the height of your car back down.
Yeah, so Sophie's known how to open a zip from 13, 14 months.
Yeah. But she's still napping once a day.
Yeah, exactly. She was still had a nap schedule then of a 2-hour nap in the middle of the day.
So just for your own...
It was bad enough with the camper trailer, and even this with 2 steps to get up into the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Having her try and climb up them
and climb down.
And waiting for her to fall over backwards and standing there to catch her.
Yeah. His
and
kids
whatnot,
are fiercely independent.
Oh, yeah, and you get told off, Daddy, no help. No help, Daddy. So, yeah, like... You're there to catch them, but you can't help them.
You absolutely could. And we've, seen people in tents and all kinds of stuff with kids.
Yeah.
But it's my holiday.
Correct.
And I want to relax and not have to deal with broken bones.
People go camping for all sorts of different reasons, but
I mean, we've got
at the end of the day,
the glamper thing here. And Sophie still has gravel rush on half her face right now.
Yeah,
so
she stacked it out of her chair on the shade cloth.
Like...
At the end of the day, when you go camping, you still want to enjoy it yourself. You don't want it to be an absolute mission or a nightmare. So if you think that there's a setup out there in regards to a trailer, a camper, or a hybrid, or something like that, that is going to be easier, give you more space, give you more storage, it's going to accommodate yourself, your wife, your children and whatnot as your family develops and grows up, and keep camping enjoyable as a result, then yeah, I'd say you need to look into going down that avenue.
But it doesn't mean you get rid of the rooftop or the swag or the tent that you already have. Like, we still have our swag.
Yep.
Because if we're going away for a night or two, or Graham wants to go away with the boys and take Soph with him,
yep,
you just take the swag or something easy. You don't need to lug this around or our camper trailer around.
Exactly.
You still have your small, quick and nimble stuff.
Yep.
But, like, if you're wanting to continue travelling for, like, a week with your family, you just logistically are going to run out of space in a car rooftop combination.
Correct, yeah. Well, everyone, that basically is going to conclude our episode for today. Those of you that have questions and bits and pieces, chuck them in the comments below. Now that the hiatus is over, I am actively going back through and answering questions and all of that. So, yeah, if you want to know anything more about the Yowie, that's the hybrid, or the forward fold camper, or you've got a question about camping with kids, how we do it with the girls, just fire away. More than happy to answer them the best that I can. Likewise, if you don't want to do it in a public domain in the comments below, by all means feel free to DM me via Instagram or Facebook, and happy to answer any questions privately that way.
Yeah, and I guess just for emphasising again, both do have full-time jobs, so...
I might not reply within 5 minutes, but
No.
I'll get back to you, that day or the next day, hopefully.
Yeah.
Unless we're off-grid, camping somewhere, that sort of thing. We have the Starlink now, so we still are connected, but it's still sometimes nice to digital detox for a day or two.
Yeah, take a lesson from our children.
Exactly, yeah. So anyway, happy, safe adventuring, everybody. Stay safe on the tracks and trails. hopefully one day we'll get to see you out here. If not, we'll see you in the next video.
See ya.
Cheers.
Well, I wasn't going to leave you hanging. Here are the times for the setup and the pack up. No cheating. If you've made your comment, don't go back and edit it. But yeah, let's have a look. How long did it take us to set up the yak?
13 minutes, 17 seconds.
And we know we were slow because I was still learning how to do the roof.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Just stop the timer. 17 minutes 15. All right, so